Very good evening, everyone. Please confirm if you can hear me. Is my voice loud and clear? Can you please let me know in the chats? I can see many more are joining. So can I have some good evening hellos in the chat? Okay. So hello, everyone. Welcome to today's insightful webinar on how to build a career in clinical research, tips from industry experts. I'm Dr. Tanushree, and I will be your host for this session. So whether you are a recent graduate or a professional looking to transition into clinical research, you are in the right place. Today, we have a panel of experts who will help you understand the landscape, skills, and opportunities in this fast-growing domain. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to introduce our esteemed speakers for the day. We are honored to welcome Dr. Rutika Nair, who is a visionary leader in precision oncology and clinical genomics. With over a decade of experience spanning research, product innovation, and regulatory strategy. Currently serving as a senior director and functional head at Wellsera, Dr. Rutika drives AI-powered solutions in oncology, diagnostics, leading cross-functional teams across India and US. Her expertise includes biomarker curation, variant interpretation, and IVD product life cycle management with a strong foundation in ISO 13485 compliance and FDA or CE-IVD regulatory processes. Dr. Rutika has played a key role in launching high-impact genomic platforms, leveraging automation and generative AI to enhance workflow efficiency by over 50%. She holds a PhD in cancer biology from National Center for Cell Science and has received multiple awards, including the TCS Innovation Award and 2 international patents. Dr. Rutika is passionate about transforming cancer care through data-driven innovation and collaborative leadership. Dr. Rutika will be taking session 2, where she will share industry insider tips, current hiring trends, and real-life success stories to inspire you. We warmly welcome you, ma'am, and look forward to gaining from your rich experience and insights. Also, we are thrilled to welcome Ms. Ankita, working as a clinical research professional for over 5.5 years. She has worked on different therapeutic areas, including oncology, neurology, ophthalmology, and more. She possesses hands-on experience in clinical trial monitoring, centralized and remote monitoring activities, risk-based quality management. Ms. Ankita will be taking session 3, where she will walk us through the essential skills, qualifications, and certifications needed to enter the field of clinical research. Also, we have with us Ms. Snigdha Tiwari, a highly accomplished senior research fellow from IIT Roorkee with over 5 years of experience in computational biology, bioinformatics, and telemedicine system design. Currently pursuing a PhD in computational biology at the Translational Bioinformatics Lab, Ms. Snigdha brings a rich academic foundation with a background in chemistry and bioinformatics, alongside a passion for interdisciplinary research and advancing biotechnology or healthcare through innovation and collaboration. She currently serves as an academic support specialist in Bio-IT and Clinical Research Department in Biotechnica. In session 1, Ms. Snigdha will provide an overview of clinical research and the vast career potential it offers both in India and globally. We welcome you, ma'am. So, dear attendees, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat box at any time during the webinar. We'll address them during the live Q&A session after all the speakers' presentations. Also, kindly note we will be sharing an ebook link which is freely downloadable and can be we will be sharing it either midway or maybe at the end, anytime during the webinar. So stay till the end of this webinar. And remember, the link is only available till the webinar. Once the webinar ends, you cannot download the ebook then. So this is all from my end. I would like now to invite our first speaker, Snigdha Tiwari, ma'am. So over to you, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, ma'am. Thank you, Tanushree, ma'am. I'll start with the clinical research, very basic foundations. What are the opportunities and what is the global outlook? So, understanding the evolving domain and its relevance for life sciences professional will seal the future PPTs. So, starting with what is actually a clinical research? So the systematic investigation involving human participants to evaluate safety, efficacy, and outcomes of medical interventions like drug, any of the devices, vaccines, are different diagnostics and procedures. So it is a systematic investigational plans of the human participants, of the human sample size population. So moving towards what are the types of clinical research. So there are two basic types of clinical research. One is interventional and the other is observational. So the interventional is where the researchers intervene, where the researchers give some type of uh, diagnostic studies, the trials to the participants, to the sample size of a population. They intervene with the study, with the vaccine, with different kind of devices and everything. In the observational, the researchers do not intervene. They just observe. It's more like the observation of a broad spectrum of the observation of any of the diseases. Say for example, in the interventional, what we see is the cross sectional studies. In the observational, in the observational we just observe, so it's basically the cross sectional studies. In the interventional, we intervene, so it's, for example, it's the RCT, the randomized control trials, and all of that. Both the interventional observational goes into the therapeutic areas, which is the oncology, the cardiology, and rare diseases. Any of the rare diseases, say for example, nephrotic syndrome and these kind of rare diseases. The foundation for evidence-based medicine and regulatory approvals. So these interventional and observational studies, the kind of clinical research that we do, is the foundation of the evidence-based medicines. The evidence-based medicines are those of which the evidences and the trials and the devices and things that we know that it is there, it is already there, and with the help of that we do a lot of research ahead. And a lot of regulatory approvals are also needed, because why? Because to save the ethics and to stick to the ethical basis of the population, the regulatory approval is very important. In the interventional, because there's the intervene, and the different kind of studies on the populations being done, so there has to be a very strict regulatory approvals. In the observational, it is just the observation, it's a broad spectrum, it is how the symptoms are there, and especially for how the hypothesis has to be created, we do the observational study. Now, coming to the global regulatory landscape. So here, as we discussed, it has to be a ethics-based regulatory approvals for both the interventional and observational studies, especially for interventional one. We'll see what are the global regulatory landscapes. So there are a lot of bodies, there are a lot of acts, and there are a lot of practices that are involved, to maintain the regulation, to maintain a regulatory landscape. So we'll start with the ICH-GCP guidelines. So there's a very strong International Council for Harmonization, which is called as a good clinical practice. That is very important to stick to when we are doing a clinical research. The international standard, it is the international standard that ensures the ethical and scientific quality. So the scientific quality is harmonized. It is the harmonization across regions. Different regions has to stick to the basic acts, the basic landscape of a global regulatory bodies, and therefore the ICH-GCP guidelines come into picture. In India, if we see, there are in different parts of the world, there are different kind of acts and different kind of bodies that regulate. So in India, we can see there is this Drug Controller General of India, who serves for CDSCO, which is a Central Drug Standard Control Organization, which comes under MOHFW, and the DCGI approves all the trials in India. All the trials, all the the interventional trials, devices, vaccines, uh, therapeutics, and everything is approved. It has to be approved for for the ethics to be maintained. So it comes under Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Moving ahead, we'll see in US it's a Food and Drug Administration. So Food and Drug Administration goes into the states and oversees clinical trials. The IND, which is the investigational new drug application, and the new drug application needs an approval. Especially investigational new drug application holds the preclinical guidelines. The what are the sample size, what will be the questionnaires, what will be the population and sample size will be, what are the intervention studies that we are going to, what will be the what will be this. the hypothesis, what will be the hypothesis, and everything is there in the investigational new drug application, which has to be approved by Food and Drug Administration. And same kind, if there is a new drug application also, the new drug application generally comes into picture after the RCT or after the trials, where it is more of like what are the results, and what is the safety dosages and everything, at the end of the study what we got. So everything has to be approved and has to be submitted to the regulatory bodies to work. Now coming ahead to European Union. For European Union, European medicines agencies, that is active in European Union. So that regulates the medicines in the EU, ensuring safety and efficacy. Emphasis on transparency, data integrity, and participant protection. So it is very important our participants to be protected. The data. So why? Because see, we are coming towards the decentralization and global research now. So global and decentralized research is, it's not what it is actually. It is not that we have to go to the X place. Everyone has to go to the X place. It is decentralized. Anywhere, people sitting in everywhere. We have to collect people and participants and patients globally. So because it is now going globally, and because it is decentralized, it is very important the patient data to be encrypted. The encryption and the participant protection, that is always very important. So, and emphasis to the transparency also. There has to be a proper informed consent forms, and the transparency should be maintained. Informed consent forms actually make the transparency of to the participants, that yes, you'll say, for example, if the RCT is going on, so what will be the hypothesis, what will be the inclusion, what will be the exclusion criteria. So inclusion, exclusion criteria, what will be the severe effects, what will be the, all of that has to be mentioned in the informed consent form, and which is the transparency that we have to maintain for sticking to the ethics and data integrity, of course. So now, as we talk about the applications and role in healthcare, so now clinical research is, of course, it's a research. Research comes with the innovation. It has to be some innovation. So, so what are the applications, and what is this innovation? What is this research and innovation role in healthcare? How it plays a good role in healthcare means. So, in the healthcare, it will play a very important role. Say, for example, in a drug approval and post-marketing surveillance. If any of the drug that has been developed in a lab, it has to go to a proper testing, a proper phase trials. Like there are different phases in clinical trial: phase 0, 1, 2, and so on. So it has to that drug has to go to a proper phases of the approval and post marketing. After and once it is approved and it goes to the market, the post marketing surveillance is very important. The observational study that comes into the play. What is the observation? What is the safety? Maybe there should not be any of the side effects. So all of that comes into the picture in the marketing surveillance. Advancing personalized medicines. Now is the time for personalized, exact medicines. The medicines are being made first on the basis of the genetics, on the basis of the biomarkers and genetics and everything. So first, the RNA and genomic studies are done, and then the drug trials and everything is done to make it more personalized and precise. So that healthcare pictures has really changed after the globalization and decentralization and personalized medicines. So now talking about the AI driven diagnostics. Now, because we have a lot of data, we have a lot of the patient data and the drugs and the trials and all the data. So all the data can be used for machine learning and AI. So AI driven trials are trending now. Going ahead, we'll see the managing pandemics and vaccine developments, of course, because AI, because we have a lot of data in AI, so there's the efficiency has really increased in managing the pandemics and emergency situations and vaccine development. Vaccine development we can see in COVID-19. There was a very fast vaccine development, and the phases were being approved and phase trials and everything. So it is one of the very good examples of what we see as vaccine development and trials and decentralization of the clinical trial. Now drives cost effective targeted. Of course, it's very cost effective, it's targeted and safe healthcare solutions globally. Now globally, it is a safe healthcare solution. It is cost effective. See, in India also, compared to the West, India actually serves as a very cost effective solutions now. So all of this can be seen. Now moving towards the career potential in clinical trial. Now, what are the career potentials? We'll see the globally also. We'll see globally also. But then in India, if we talk about India, India is growing. it is really growing in career potentials and clinical research and everything. It is leading these days. So growing hub due to skilled, and why it is growing, because due to the skilled workforce, patient diversity, and cost efficiency. Cost efficiency as compared to the West is a lot better in India. Also, the patient diversity. We get a lot of diversification. We get, there's a lot of diversification with respect to the, the geography, with respect to uh, you know color, and whatever you can pretend. The patient diversity we get in India, different climates, and different geography and everything, and a lot of skilled workforces there. A lot of new science professionals, skilled workforces are there in India. So we can get roles in trials, data management, regulatory, and pharmacovigilance. Pharmacovigilance roles, data management roles, the regulatory, because regulatory body is very important, because to stick to the ethics, the regulatory bodies are so important. So regulatory bodies and the trials, from lab, starting from the lab, the wet lab, and the bioinformaticians, and then biostatisticians. Because what? Because see, clinical research is actually the collaboration. It has to be collaborative. Starting a drug maintained in the discovered in a lab, going to the four phases of trials, and then marketing, surveillance. It has to be a huge collaboration. So biostatistics is important, the informatics is important, wet lab is important. So much role comes into the picture. About the data management. Data management is, we see the things have been decentralized. So what we do is, the questionnaires and e-consent forms is now trending. The database has to be maintained. SQL, non-SQL databases, and everything. So things has to be encrypted, and data management comes into play, because we have lots of data. So the managing the data in different kinds of roles. So that is a huge other potential in clinical research. Now, talking about the global trends, rise of decentralized trials. Now, what I've talked about, it's a lot of decentralization that is involved now. A patient cannot sit at a place and then only participate. You can sit anywhere in the world, and we just need a global participants. And where after we go to the decentralization, we have a lot of data, and therefore AI/ML in trials come into picture, and real world evidence. A lot of real world evidences we got, COVID-19 vaccines, and a lot of real world evidences we're already seeing. A shortage of skilled professional is a rising demand. On the basis, see, starting from our wet lab and dry lab clinicians to the marketing, surveillance, and the regulatory bodies, we need a lot of skilled professionals, and therefore it's a very so much of a rising demand. And shortage of this, of course, leads to a rising of a demand. Now, who are the key stakeholders of the clinical research? The sponsors like pharma and biotech companies. They're the sponsors. We need a sponsorship, of course, for leading so much of a huge RCTs and observational trials and everything. Sponsor studies and develop IP. Again, talking about the contracts, there are a lot of contract research organizations, CROs, that is involved for getting into the research and developing the phase trials and everything. Outsourced clinical services, some of them rack IQVIA and Synemis, and there are a lot more other clinical services. Then talking about the trials, there are hospitals and clinics, the trial sites, and patient recruitment and randomization. All of this comes into the trial. So for the trials, we go to the clinics and hospitals, and different trial sites and everywhere. Conduct. Academia, conduct investigator. The investigator are who's the investigator? Someone who's expert in in a topic. The expertise of a topic is the investigator, and to conduct that, we reach out to the academia. There are different doctors, especially there are doctors, and other people who who are the investigators. Uh, so the conduction of the investigator initiated studies and protocol designs. There are a lot of scientific writers and protocol design makers, who work with the investigator to successfully take on to the clinical phases and trials. There are different kind of rules, and stick to the regulatory bodies, again regulatory trials, and the GCP guidelines and everything. Ensure regulators, ensure compliance and patient safety. Again, patient safety has to be maintained, so all the rules needs to be followed. Now, relevance for life science graduates. I'll little bit talk about the career paths, very basic ones. The deep dive into it will we have a lot of speakers ahead, and I'll request them to to dive deep into all the career paths. But then just at a glance, we'll see the career paths: BSc, MSc, Life Sciences and Biotech, clinical operations, data management in QA. You can you can it is it is the operations that you can dive into the operations. The data management, as I've talked about, it is all decentralized, it is all globalized. So data management is very important. It has to be encrypted, it has to be transparent, and the electronic CRFs and everything is there. So we need a data management. And then quality assurance, quality assurance specialist, quality check specialist, and everything. Again, B Farm and Farm D. What can Farm D and B Farm can contribute is medical writing, pharmacovigilance. Again, CRC roles. CRC roles are very very much sticking to the B Pharma and Farm D roles. We'll talk more about it in the later sessions. Now, upskilling, very important is upskilling the GCP that I've talked about, the good quality practices and the good clinical practices. Everything needs to be upskilling with it. There are a lot of certification courses and everything. If you'll add on to the certification courses, it will be good, because you have to stick to the regulatory bodies and everything. So GCP and all these upskilling will definitely help in the future prospects. Research ethics and trial design tools. If you learn about the trial design tools, what how the question is made, how are the e-consent forms developed, how the databases are made, how you can use those big data into the healthcare, how you can use the AI advancements into the healthcare diagnostics. So that is all upskilling for you. That is all which is going on nowadays. Gateway to translational research, regulatory sciences or medical affairs. Translational research, you can dive into the translational research. Now things are collaborative, now things are interdisciplinary. So translational researchers will come into the picture. If you are from the chemistry or bioinformatics, or you can just combine all of your skills uh, and involved in the clinical research. And regulatory sciences or medical affairs, any of the medical, like writing, or like if you're so if people becomes pro about it, so then investigators and everything. So all these roles are open, and all these roles, because it's collaborative, so a lot of things are there. So now I will conclusion and takeaway. The final things are that clinical research is pivotal in transforming lab discoveries into life-saving treatments. Starting from a lab, a drug, or a diagnostic, it will go to the markets, and it will go to the patients, and it will save treatment. It will save lives, and it will saving treatments and everything. A dynamic multidisciplinary field. It's a multidisciplinary field. It needs a statistics, as I talked about. It needs a lot of other different kind of roles to make a success. To make a diagnostic success, or any of the vaccines, any of that a success. Offering a strong career growth. It is a very strong career growth. A lot of prospects are there, and global relevance. Globally, it is relevant, and it is there. Ideal domain for life sciences graduates passionate about human health, who are passionate about human health, who want to add into the healthcare and diagnostics, can definitely dive into it. And innovation, of course, clinical research comes with the innovation. What is the research, what is the hypothesis, and then how we will do, what is the RCT, and then what is the innovation, what we have made, what we have come to the conclusion. That's very important. So thank you so much. I'll now request the other speakers to uh, take on. Thank you. Thank you, Tanushree ma'am.
Session. I request all the attendees to drop your questions in the chat box. As mentioned in the beginning, I will be taking up your questions during Q&A session. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Rutika ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Great. So thanks, Snigdha, for giving me, the kind of earlier narration that was required. You made just the job very easy for me to start from that point. Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Ritika Naik. I'm delighted to be here to discuss the exciting journey of building a career in clinical research. Today, we'll explore the path from foundational scientific work, often referred to as bench or clinical or research technically, uh, to achieving a full-fledged leadership positions within industry. My goal here is to provide you with valuable insights into essential skills, diverse career trajectories, and effective strategies to position yourself to success in this dynamic field. Um, it would be a repetition, but still, I would say, let's go with what is clinical research. Um, I would definitely not, get into the basic definition. I think Snigdha did cover it quite well. To start off with fundamentals, it is, in essence, it's a systematic investigation of health illness in human subjects. It's the cornerstone of medical advancement, if I have to say. This field is pivotal in the development of new pharmaceutical drugs, innovative diagnostic tools, a core component of rigorously validating their safety and effectiveness before they become available to patients. Clinical research is typically a phased process, starting from the preclinical studies, often performed in the labs with animal models, progress through several human trial phases of phase 1, 2, 3, and 4, and extend to post marketing surveillance ahead. I think clinical research, I see it as a critical tool, a critical area, I would say, that translates the groundbreaking laboratory discoveries into tangible improvements in patient care and public health. Moving ahead with how the landscape is growing of clinical research, I would just take your keenness to this is about how the market is growing and why this study is really important, because one can have a career when the market is growing, and that's what these numbers are important to us to understand that. So, according to Precedence Research, the global clinical trials market was valued about uh, 149.58 billion by 2034. And also, similarly, by Grandview Research, it estimates the market to be by around, I'm quoting the dollar values, 123.5 billion by 2030. Um, dollars. So there is definitely a great expansion in this areas, which kind of aims towards growing the demand of skilled professionals. We are observing a profound need of individuals grow in the roles of clinical research associates, data managers, regulatory affairs specialists, just to name few. Educational initiatives, programs offered by Biotechnica are specially designed to equip aspiring professionals within industry relevant skills to have a comprehensive knowledge to excel in the demanding needs of the market. So the real world impact is this field is profound, and you could see the recent medical breakthroughs, like the mRNA vaccines and others are powerful. One of the examples around how this field is growing and has a major role to play in global health crisis. Um, Moving ahead, is what are the core roles in clinical research, and if I have to say, where do you all fit in? So it's clinical research offers a wide array of core roles, each contributing to overall process. Let's delve into few of the key positions that specifically interest and skill sets to be best aligned. uh, Clinical research associates are the instrumental in execution of clinical trials, which are responsible for monitoring the trial sites, ensuring strict adherence to protocols, and upholding the highest standards of regulatory compliance and data quality. Next is the quite popular data manager. This role is absolutely critical for, I would say, managing the substantial volume of the data generated during the clinical trials. The data managers oversee entire data life cycle, including collection of the data, meticulous cleaning. I here cleaning refers to really the data cleaning, making it precise and systematic organization to ensure its accuracy, integrity, and readiness for the further analysis. A regulatory affairs specialist plays an indispensable role in navigating the intricate and ever changing regulatory landscapes. These professionals are tasked with preparing and managing submission to healthcare authorities like FDA and EMA. And I think, the earlier discussion was about what are these authorities. So I think, just taking it ahead, that what a regulatory specialist does is basically making sure that the regulations that are made by FDA and EMA bodies are being followed in the project that is to be conducted. Um, Ensuring that all the research activities comply with the applicable laws, guidelines, and ethical standards. Um, we also have clinical trial coordinator, are the logistical backbone of the trial. They coordinate various aspects of trial operations, from site initiation, patient recruitment, to managing steady supplies and ensuring smooth day-to-day activities of research site. It's important to remember that these are just few examples. The field is rich with diverse role, and I would say, as an aspirant, I would not stick to these titles only. I think I have one slide to explain something that probably I as a career had challenged. And I think, don't stick to the titles of the role. There are many diverse role across. So I think this field is rich with diverse role, and I think one integral part is for successful completion of clinical research endeavors. um, so moving ahead, what are the skills, I would say, that are required for this these roles, and what one should look forward to, as if people are hiring, what are the skills they look forward to? If I have to put things in a more of perspective of hiring. So everyone gets a competitive edge with, one is having the skill and then showcasing it appropriately. For one of the prime skill, I would say, is the project management abilities. Clinical research inherently involves managing multifaceted projects with complex timelines, diverse stakeholders, finite resources. Demonstrate the experience in project management. Demonstrable experience in project management just makes things quite easier for someone to demonstrate that skill, I would say. Perhaps gain through practical online coursework, or hands-on role is also an advantageous part around. I think demonstrating this skill is one of the factor, I would say, in life science domain, quite appreciated, where I think organizing the work is majorly part, but there are frameworks and platforms to be a best project manager. um, Data analysis, I think this is also one of the indispensable skill. It is critically to interpret the complex data, understanding treatment effects, uh, identifying the safety signals. Comprehensive understanding of a trial design, again, is one of the parts. So analysis of the data, designing the trial, uh, these are like the core project details, project roles that are necessary for the successful completion of a clinical trial. um, Finally, I think regulatory knowledge is also one of the aspect. Uh, I think the earlier talk did cover about the CGPs, and I won't dive in detail, but I think these are probably the major keywords, I would say, and the skills that one should thrive for getting into the clinical research. Um, Okay, I will spend, I think, a minute, as I said, around my personal journey, and something that I would like to share more on, what is something that one can look for, and probably I missed to look for, or probably I made it through because of it. So, uh, some insights of my own career path is that I started an academic career background with PhD in cancer biology. I'm absolutely was more focused in becoming a principal investigator and having a full-fledged career in research lab. But I think my major learning was around to be more open of new things that come into play. So I think after I completed my PhD and postdoc, um, I I kind of pondered upon. So, being in cancer biology, I was quite headmont on pursuing just the research, but then I realized that there are so many parallel fields that one can dive in. And I was co investigator of a clinical trial in TMH. Which was basically focusing on evaluation of simvastatin in colorectal cancer patient. So I think from the really core basic biology work, I shifted from more on the clinical trial, actually contributing to patients. And I think after that, I realized that one should not be open for a dry lab, and I moved my career trajectory where these translation actually come into picture. So. I joined, Parian earlier, Parian DX, and now in Valsera, and completely based on precision diagnostics of oncology patients. And I think diving into in vitro diagnostics software as a medical device in oncology platforms was, unique challenge itself, and it accelerated my learning into new domains. So I think I would say that just be open for, don't be focused on just couple of keywords and narrow your search. The research or clinical research is, utilized in various aspects across, and one should be open to it. Um, Currently, I hold a position of senior director at Valsera, and my responsibilities include leading clinical genomic systems. So I think I could comprehend my work of basic research, clinical research, and now I would say the precision medicine oncology to serve real life patients in cancer care and healthcare. So I think one of the thing was to be open for you know new avenues that come in. Another thing is continuous learning. So one needs to be open to learning, as the field in life sciences are absolutely dynamic, and one needs to be keeping upgraded. It's important to be yourself be upgraded every time for the new adventures and the new dynamic fields that the field is evolving to. um, I think last but absolutely not the least is absolutely important, the work life balance around. When you focus on just the work, it becomes bit of clogged. I think it's absolutely important to focus on a balance. It gives more way for us to think and have a better career. With that just personal update, I would go in bit of deeper of clinical research, diagnostic and precision medicine. What does it mean here? So this is an absolutely rapidly advancing field of clinical research, diagnostic and precision medicine. uh, Precision medicine represents a paradigm shift in healthcare. Its core aim is tailor made medical treatments to individual patients, taking into account the unique genetic profiles, lifestyle factors, and environmental influences. Clinical engine research is an engine that powers these development, validations, and implementations in highly personalized approaches. Uh, this involves pioneering new diagnostic tools that could be advanced imaging techniques, genomic assays, novel biomarkers, that can be more accurately identify individual risk, predict response to a specific therapy, uh, detect diseases at its earliest and most treatable stages. The deep integration, I would say, of rigorous clinical research in the realm of diagnostic and precision medicine is fundamentally revolutionizing how we approach diagnostics and treatment of complex conditions, paying way to more active, targeted, and ultimately most successful outcomes. With this, I would dive in. What are the roles and career opportunities here? So, the coverage of clinical research and medical technology, often referred to as medtech, it's a fertile ground for innovation, and it is creating new spectrum of exciting career opportunities. Um, we have previously discussed some key roles such as clinical research associate, data scientist, and regulatory affairs. These roles remain absolutely central and are highly sought for within medtech space as well, adapting to nuances of technology driven research. Beyond these, we witness significant rise of emerging roles, which is AI specialist, or product specialist. There are like a number of marketed tags or roles that are in play. It could be consultant specialist, or product domain specialist, who are focused on developing and applying artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms to analyze complex medical data set for insights in diagnostics and drug development. uh, it's also growing need of bioinformaticians and analysts who manage, interpret, and derive meaningful data from large scale biological data, particularly genomic and proteomic. The world is moving towards multi-omics, and there is an absolute integration that is looked for. Furthermore, I would say precision medicine consultants are emerging, and they are bridging gap between these advanced technologies and their practical applications in clinical setting. In terms of skills and growth, a strong foundation of data analysis, coupled with, I think, excellent medical writing, a good domain of life science understanding and communication skills are absolutely valued here. Deep and current regulatory knowledge, especially concerning to medical devices and software as a medical device, is also very critical. Uh, Career path in this integrated domain is remarkably bit diverse. Opportunities in industries from startups to multinational corporates, academia, government agencies are all contributing to advancement of medical technology through robust and ethical clinical research. Um, okay, so moving ahead with role of AI in clinical research and diagnostics. I think AI is no longer futuristic concept, as I think most of us are using it in an absolutely day-to-day life to transform our day-to-day work, and I think absolutely that is what is looked for. Applications of AI in this domain are vast and growing. um, this includes really leveraging AI for a sophisticated medical imaging analysis, which can lead to earlier and more accurate disease detection. AI is also accelerating drug discovery process by identifying potential candidates or predicting their efficacy. Moreover, it's instrumental in developing highly personalized treatment regimes for patient characteristics. There are a lot of benefits of AI, I would say, with significantly faster results. However, there are key roles for life sciences. So, I'm absolutely not boasting AI over a scientist or a medical professional or a life science professional, because I think, if I have to say that AI would not replace a human mind, but AI definitely makes human mind to more focus on the right things and get the lame work done by AI. So I look at technology and advancements as something that aids us to take right decisions. But I think a role of us a life science professional or a domain expert in any field of life science is absolutely critical, because the final decision making is always done by a life science professional. AI are the tools to make sure that the work is easier, but I think the life science professional work is to make sure that whether the work done by AI is right or not, and I think how good it and precisely it can give the output. So as a part of medtech, and I think it's more important for someone to understand what is the right medical outcome or life science or clinical outcome is required, and I think that definitely comes with the understanding of the life science professional here. um, I think moving ahead, the challenges and the concerns of AI algorithms in healthcare are absolutely look forward to. So as I said, these AI tools are majorly used to ease work of a life science professional, and there are still some challenges to have them absolutely used without a final medical signatory right now. So there are ethical challenges around it, but the field is absolutely moving towards it. Uh, what are the career paths and advancement opportunities here? It does mean that if I start a career, how would I grow? And one common rewarding trajectory is the clinical research associate to a project manager. The CRAs gain experience, leadership, organizational skills, and move ahead by managing a larger projects, managing the budget, timelines, and teams. um, uh, the another significant opportunity that I see is the data management to biostatistics. So starting with data analysis and coupled with interest with statistical analysis can develop analytical expertise. One can develop analytical expertise. This allows them to become biostatisticians, I would say, that play a critical role in trial design, planning, and interpretations. Um, Investing in advanced certification is something I think you would learn later as well. But there are many certifications that open your doors to senior roles, such as PMP, CCRP. PMP is project management professionals, clinical CCRPs, certified clinical research professionals, and these pursuing additional to higher degrees like masters and PhDs can get deeper level of expertise. um, I would share some tips of how would you build your resume. I would say highlight and showcase your work and skills very very effectively. um, Look at the broader roles that you are applying to. Don't restrict to a smaller and a narrow titles that are being used. There are vast number of titles than you think. I would say apply for a role if you have more than 50% of the essentials that are met in your CV should highlight the technical expertise that are required. um, if you have a certification, make sure you build on that. If you have a project work, make sure you get those project work being highlighted in a way that are effective in demonstrating your skills. I think tailor your resume. We have currently the ATS system, which is mostly used for screening the CVs, which is a mostly AI based system in many of the companies, where the CVs are not screened by many a times the recruiters, but they are screened by AI bots, or there are online systems called ATS which does that. So I think make sure that use AI tools to build your resumes, and make sure you have the effective skills being demonstrated in your CVs. Make sure the keywords are being utilized. Last but definitely not the least, I think build on networking, connections with industry professionals. Um, it's important to use professional social networkings to have a connection, to build on that connection. attend conferences, join organizations that are relevant to the field, actively leverage LinkedIn and other professional social media platforms, uh, write to people after reading their post, make sure that you utilize LinkedIn to the best way, where you actually demonstrate your skills by your analytical and intellectual views around a particular topic. I think that's it. Don't underestimate the value of informational institute. Reach out to experienced professionals. So go ahead and, if you read a good interview or a podcast, make sure that you reach out, build on your networks, and I think follow industry trends, where the market is going. I think those are a few of the key tips from me, and I think that's it. I hope that was insightful for you all, and thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such a practical and informative presentation. Especially thank you for sharing your personal journey. I'm sure many attendees had this had this question in their mind, like how to start or enter in this field of clinical research. So I hope this has truly answered many of their questions, and especially the suggestions that you have given. Really, the resume preparation and regarding like how to apply for the jobs. It's really very informative, ma'am. Thank you so much for that, ma'am.
Thank you.
Now it's time for session three. Before I invite our next speaker, I kindly request everyone to post your questions. Any questions you have about the field of related to the field of clinical research, please post it in the chat. We have clinical research experts with us today, and there's a golden opportunity to get your queries addressed during the live webinar. So now I invite Ankita ma'am. So I think Ankita ma'am will be, I think, keeping, due to some technical issue, I think she will not be able to keep her camera on. So I request everyone to kindly bear with it. So over to you, ma'am. Please start.
Thank you. I hope my screen is visible and you can hear me.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible and your screen is visible.
Thank you. So firstly, I would like to thank my faculty members for, such an insightful session on the clinical research and how to weave your career in the field of clinical research. So I'll be taking you through the skills that are, required to start the clinical research career. Okay, so you are a fresher or you're an experienced person, like you were working into some other things, now you have decided to move into clinical research and you want to grow your career there. So how can, as an individual, we can wave our career path there. Okay, so I'll not go into the basics of clinical research because it's already well explained by my fellow faculty members. So just to give you an idea, basically clinical trials, they are occurring in various phases. So typically we call them from phase 1 to phase 4, where phase 1 is the initial phase where dose upgradation, dose escalation to know the actual dose that needs to be given to the patients. All these things are done. Then pharmacokinetic studies, pharmacodynamic studies, all this comes up from phase 1 to phase 2, 3. And during the phase 4, it's basically like marketing, post marketing, how the drug is acting upon the vast number of subjects we have or the patients we have. So that's the different stages or phases of clinical trials. Okay, and since we are dealing with human beings, so we need to very be cautious that the clinical trial process that is there, that should be safe and ethical. Okay, none of the malpractice or kind of forgery should be implemented in the field of clinical research because we are dealing with human beings. Okay, so for that reason, we have this thing called GCP, that is good clinical practices, and all clinical research professional from starting till the end of the clinical trial should adhere to good clinical practice. Okay, and the main motto or the main focus of the clinical research professional, those who are there, who are working as a clinical research professional, it is mainly to protect the subjects at any cost. Okay, we should make sure that none of the subjects are having any fatal issues or kind of, developing some kind of serious illness or anything during the course of the clinical research. So we must try our best to limit that thing. Okay. So coming to the next topic, so paying attention to the details, since it is a very crucial thing that we are dealing with human beings, we are dealing with, drugs, molecules, human subjects, etc. Details should be very much be into account. Okay, so the first thing that we need to keep in mind as a clinical research professional is that the data, whatever we are collecting, should be recorded. Okay, so there is a saying in the field of clinical research. Okay, in clinical research, unless it is documented, it is mentioned as not done, or it is considered as not done. Okay, so every process, be it a minute to minute process, it should be documented. Okay, let it be, the time difference between two activities, or there are two drugs simultaneously that needs to be given to the patients. So the timing difference, when it is mentioned that it should be around 15 to 15 minutes interval should be maintained, so the professional should maintain the timeline of 15 minutes. Okay, they should stick to the protocol that is there, and everything that is being done, as I said, it needs to be recorded. Okay, and again, even a small mistake can affect patient safety or study results, so we as a individual should be very much careful, very much vigilant enough that we are not making any mistakes. Okay, we should be very careful when we are stepping into this field of clinical research, because we, from inside, we need to understand that we are doing a very crucial and an important job, like we are saving lives of 1,000 people. Okay, so if we have that mindset within us, then only we can move forward with the work that we will be doing. Next is communication skills. So at every point there will be multiple stakeholders who will be, involved. Like if we go to the hospitals, in clinical research we don't call them as hospitals, we generally refer to them as sites. Okay, so if we go to the site, we have clinical research coordinators, we have site staffs, we have the principal investigator who are the doctors. Okay, we address them as principal investigator or sub investigator. So everyone should be thorough with the protocol of the clinical trial that is there. Okay, because subjects might be from different areas. Okay, they might be, some might be very literate, some might be, coming from some small villages or something, where they will not be that much educated enough to understand what is going to happen to them. So the professional who are dealing with those subjects or the patients, they need to be very much thorough, and they should be able to explain the clinical trial to them in a very layman language, so that everyone can understand. Okay, so that's what communication signifies, that talking with participants, doctors and study teams, everyone should be very much thorough with the procedure that is going to happen, and they should be able to explain them properly to the subject, or to the parents or the guardian of the subject who will be who will be bringing the subject to enroll themselves in the clinical trial. As a result, to sum it up, communication from the stakeholders end, like to the, from the principal investigators end, from the doctors end, or from the site coordinators end, to the subject should be a very clear pathway. Okay, there should not be any kind of complex thing that needs that will be there. Okay, and similarly, it is not only that the physician or the site coordinator needs to explain it properly. The sponsor or the pharmaceutical company who is, designing the clinical trial, they should also not use very complex mechanism or very complex word in their protocol or in their SOPs that is there. Okay, it should be very clear, so that everyone can understand and they can follow the required procedure. So that's what communication skills is all about. Next is organization and time management. So keeping a track of every single process that is being happening, okay, it's very important. Like for example, let's say that we have a clinical trial where, it has been mentioned that vital signs are supposed to be taken 15 minutes prior to the study drug administration. Like the drug should be administered 15 minutes after the vital signs has been taken. Okay, so the recording of the time, what is the start time of the drug administration, what is the end time of the drug administration, at which time was the vital signs collected, all these things needs to be very accurate, and it should be recorded properly, because later on there can be various findings or audit findings or inspection that might happen, where if the process is not adherent to the protocol, it might result into finding. Okay, to avoid such kind of scenarios or to avoid such kind of confusion, everything needs to be documented as per the time that has been mentioned. Okay, and also to keep in mind that if a site is selected, or a hospital, let's say, is selected for a clinical trial, let's say we are having one lung cancer related clinical trial in that hospital, and that hospital is a cancer specialty hospital, so not necessarily there is only one clinical trial that is going on in that uh, hospital. Okay, there might be several other clinical trial that has been happening from different pharmaceutical company. Let's say pharmaceutical company A is having their lung cancer trial in that site, or pharmaceutical company B is having their breast cancer related clinical trial in that particular site. So the site staff, the doctors or the coordinators who are there, they need to be very much focused, and they need to understand that okay, this protocol is for this, they should not mess up anything. Okay, so from these things, I hope you can understand that how crucial or how important organizing things is required in this field of clinical research. Okay, and they need to manage their time, and also they have to be very much on toes to uh, handle multiple studies with different protocols or different procedures at the same time. Okay, so if they are able to do that, then only in future these sites or this set of coordinators will be getting more and more clinical trial, and it will be a recognized one. Okay, so to brief it in short, we can say that uh, keeping a track of all the process and times and schedules of activities that needs to be done, it's important during the course of the clinical trial. And also the site staff or the doctors or the coordinators, they should be able to handle more than one study at a time with proper care given to the subject. They should not neglect one study subjects and give importance to another study subject. Okay, they should handle everyone with equal importance. Next is managing the data and the records. So every time there are any procedures of a clinical trial that is being conducted, it needs to be recorded. So we have separate forms which are commonly known as case report forms. Okay, CRF to be in short. Okay, so also known as medical forms. So individual subject for one trial will be having individual case report form for each and every visit. Let's say for example, for the entire clinical trial they need to visit the site 20 times, so there will be 20 different case report forms designed for that one subject. Okay, and every time the subject comes to the site to visit the site for their study drug administration, those medical forms or the case report forms needs to be filled by the site staff, and later on it will be checked by the clinical research associate or the CRAs. Okay, and also understanding the trial rules and reporting any problems at any point of time. If the site staff or the PI, or like the principal investigator, like the doctors, get stuck with any of the process, like they are not able to understand how to proceed with it, or the subject has developed some kind of serious illness and they need to do something immediately because it is a life threatening one, so in that case they must not delay in anything. They must immediately reach out to the pharmaceutical company, who are commonly known as the sponsors who are funding the clinical trial, in short, and let them know about the incident. And based on that, they can communicate and take a mutual decision whether the subject needs to be a part of the clinical trial, or they can be withdrawn from the clinical trial, like they will no longer be a part of the clinical trial. So to explain it in more details, so whenever a subject is coming to a clinical trial, as I said, the PI and the site staff, they will be explaining the entire process that is going to happen to them. Okay, like how many visits they need to come, what is the drug they will be getting, and what can be the possible minor illness or minor adverse condition that they might develop, and how they can be cured as well. So everything they will be they will be discussing, and they will be letting the patients know about it. Okay, and after that, a freely given informed consent form will be given to the subject, so that the subject can go through the entire process that has been explained, and they themselves voluntarily agrees that yes, I want to be a part of the clinical trial, or no, I don't want to be a part of the clinical trial. There should not be any external pressure that is being given by from the sites and or from the sponsors and to the subject. Okay, that yes, you should be a part of the clinical trial. Nothing like that should happen. Okay, if the subject voluntarily agrees, then only they will be a part of the clinical trial. And also in the informed consent form, it will be clearly mentioned that at any point of time, the subject can withdraw from the clinical trial, and no one is going to stop them. Okay, so that's what. If there is any kind of health issues that is coming up in this for that particular patient or the subject, then at any point of time they can voluntarily withdraw their consent, and they will be no longer a part of the clinical trial that is there. Now, I think previously you already heard about this regulatory authorities, right? Like we have ICH-GCP, then we have FDA, CDSCO, EMA. These short forms or abbreviated forms are nothing but, ICH-GCP stands for International Council of Harmonization, which is related to good clinical practice. They mainly focus on the subject safety and data integrity. Okay, and FDA is Food and Drug Administration. This is the regulatory authority governed by the US. Okay, so any trial that is being initiated in the United States needs to get permission from the FDA. Okay, so once the FDA gives green signal that yes, you can proceed with the clinical trial, only then the sponsor can start with the enrollment and screening of the patients. Okay. Next is CDSCO. CDSCO stands for Central Drug Standards Control Organization, and it is the regulatory authority governed by India. Okay, and the head of the CDSCO is called DCGI, that is Drug Controller General of India. And only if the CDSCO, more precisely the DCGI, gives green signal that yes, this trial can happen in India, only then they will be starting the clinical trial enrollment and screening process in India. Next is EMA. EMA is for Europe, that is the regulatory authority governed by the European Union. So EMA stands for European Medicines Agency, and as I said, any clinical trial that needs to be started in Europe first needs to get a permission from the EMA, and only if they give the permission, they will be starting the clinical trial. Okay, so there are a lot of scenarios that might come in your mind, that how is the process going to happen and what is the thing. To be very, like, to explain it in a very short, we can say that there are certain phases, like first they will be giving the details, like what is the purpose of the clinical trial, why they want to do the clinical trial. And if the regulatory authorities finds that yes, this is going to, in future, this is going to help the patients, or this is going to cure certain diseases, then only they will be giving the green signal to the clinical trial to initiate, like to initiate the clinical trial. Okay, and after a certain period of time, like say for depends on the study indication and disease and whatever it is, after a certain point, when they are having enough data, like the sponsor is having enough data to validate that yes, my clinical trial is going well and I can approve the drug, I can file again to the regulatory authority to approve my drug. Okay, then they will be submitting the results that they have received so far from the clinic, from the course of the clinical trial, and they will collect and accumulate that data, and they will be again submitting it to the regulatory authority, and the regulatory authority will in turn check that okay, yes, the benefits that are happening, that have happened so far based on this clinical trial is good, and the subjects are actually getting the benefit when they are getting this drug, or they will have an idea or that understanding that in future this drug will be causing a good effect on the human beings. Based on certain data and results, they will be approving the petition filed by the sponsor company, and that's how the drug gets marketed in a for large population to use it. So that's all about how, from starting, like from scratch of the clinical trial to approval, how things are happening. Now all of us might have this question, like maybe we are freshers here, or we are, kind of experienced but in another field. Now we are having this interest to grow into the field of clinical research. So what we need to do, so you might have this thinking that whether my education is valid to be a clinical researcher or not, or whether I can be a clinical research professional or not. So here are just few things or few educations that will be, kind of enhancing you or kind of helping you if you have done this kind of education in the past. Okay, so firstly, the minimum educational requirement for stepping into the field of clinical research is bachelor's degree. Okay, so you need to complete your graduation first. So it can be anything related to life science, like if you have done life science related graduation with regards to life science, or maybe zoology, botany, or physiology, microbiology, biochemistry, or genetics, anything. So you are definitely eligible to be a part of this clinical trial world. Okay, and also if you have done biostatistics, or you have in like you have done few other things, like there are so many concepts coming up, like biotechnology, animal biotechnology, food biotechnology, food, etc., etc. So you are kind of eligible to be a part of this clinical trial world as a to work as a clinical trial professional or clinical research professional. Next is pharmacy. So if you have done pharmacy like B Farm, M Farm, or Farm D, then you are lucky enough, because there are a lot of scope that will be, helpful for you, and moreover you will be having that basic idea about the therapeutic areas, or how a drug mechanism works, or how does the what does the drug do to our body, or what does the body do to the drug, and the mechanism of action of the drug, or how at which point the drug gets activated, etc. So we'll be having this kind of basic idea, because you have already done pharmacy related courses, right? So that is also like this kind of courses are also eligible if you if you want to step into the field of clinical research. Next is nursing. That is also very like very much eligible for you guys, because you can opt for being a site coordinator, or clinical trial coordinator, clinical research coordinator. You can work with the PI closely, with the doctors closely, or you can work at site, okay, to understand how the clinical trial works, or you can be the one who will be, administering the drug to the patients, or you can be the one who will be recording the temperature, or you can be the one who will be conducting certain activities like ECG, MRI, CT scan, all these things. You can be a part of the uh, research field itself, like you will be having that hands-on experience to work with the site stuff, and you will be kind of eligible to be in this clinical research world as well. Okay. And next is, if you have certain higher degree, like you have done masters, like you have done graduation, and also along with that you have done your post graduation, then again it is an added advantage because you're having more educational background as compared to the uh, only graduates. So there are some mid-level vacancies that might come up from certain sponsors or from certain hospitals, where they will be asking for people, those who have completed the master's degree. Okay, so it will be kind of increasing your chance for any mid-level position or regulatory roles. Okay. And next is, if you have done if you have done your PhD, or you are pursuing PhD. Okay, so then that time also you will be typically needed for roles in medical monitoring, protocol development. Like it will be kind of higher roles that you will be designing the protocol, or you will be in some principal position where your decision will be the one that matters in the field of clinical research. Or you can also step into the world of auditing the clinical trial, like to check whether the clinical trial is going on properly or not. Or you will be kind of being assigned as an inspector, where you will be inspecting certain sites or certain sponsors at a time to understand whether they are following the procedure or not, or they are doing the clinical research professionally or not. Okay, so this kind of things might come up based on your education. Okay, but to be very precisely speaking, that whether you have done graduation, post graduation, or you're pursuing or completed PhD, and you're interested in like in life science related background obviously, and you're interested in the field of clinical research, then definitely the door is open for you and you can be a part of this industry. Okay. And now there are certain certificate course that comes up with time. Okay, like if you want to pursue certain certificate course, like the duration will be for 3 months, 6 months, like that, and it will be giving you an additional advantage, like you will be knowing about clinical research, and also along with that you will be getting a certificate after the end of the course, which you can show in your resume, stating that you have already completed a clinical research course and you are aware about what is clinical research, how it is performed, and what are the things that needs to be done in this clinical research world. Okay, so if at all you are very new to this clinical research field, but you have this keen interest to be in this world or be a professional in clinical research, then definitely you can go ahead and opt for certain certificate course, and you can complete that course. And once you're done with the course, they will be providing a certificate for you, which you can showcase in your resume. And based on that, there are chances of getting hired by the company or by this hospitals more likely to be like more ahead as compared to a person who has not done any courses. Okay, but so I would say that it will always be an added advantage. So so why is this when is the certificate course helpful? So if you are from a non-clinical background, like you have done a general life science related course, graduation or post graduation degree you have, like maybe for microbiology, biotechnology, zoology, like that, but you have keen interest in clinical research, then definitely you can go for this shorter duration course. You can learn the basics and then you can sit for the interviews, and based on that you can get selected as well. Okay, and also not many people will be doing these courses, right? So if you come like opt for this certificate course and you complete it properly and get the certificate, then you have chance to stand out in this competitive job market of clinical research. And also, if you were switching career, like we have certain professionals, those who were working as a different field, maybe it is related to life science only, but maybe as a teacher or as a professor they were working in certain field, and now they want to switch their career and come to this field of clinical research. So they know the basics, but they want to know certain more things. In that case, they can opt for this course, and they can complete the course to understand the basics and advanced level of clinical research accordingly, and they can pursue their career in this field of clinical research. Okay. So here we have given you certain top recommended certificate courses that are, kind of free, or maybe they will be, charging based on the requirement. Okay. So firstly, we have ICH-GCP certificate, which is offered by NIDA Clinical Trials Network or the Global Health Network or Transliterate Biopharma. So it is a course of hardly 2 to 4 hours, where you need to enroll for this course. You can find it anytime, like you can search for the course directly in your website and you will be getting it. You just need to enroll for the course. You have to study. They will be providing you certain study materials which you need to study, and then you have to clear the assessment. And once you clear the assessment, the certificate will be sent to your respective mail IDs. Okay. So this is a kind of free and globally recognized course. So these are very popular courses, and every clinical research professional will be knowing about it somehow. And so when you are doing this course, you are having one added advantage to get selected for this for the particular role you want to apply for. Okay. And there are certain paid courses that are also being offered by private coaching centers, and we have certain research institutes. They are, kind of conducting certain paid courses for this basic to intermediate or advanced level of clinical research, which stands out for the duration of 1 to 6 months, or sometimes a year, like that. Okay. Where you will be getting hands-on project work experience also sometimes, and internship might also be given based on the syllabus that they are having. And after the entire course is completed, you can apply for certain jobs based on your interest. Okay. So I would like to conclude by stating that, always have your resume or your CV updated, and whatever skills you are having, whatever courses that you have done or you are pursuing or you have already completed, update it properly. Don't make your CV very lengthy or very broad. Okay. Try to keep it short and mention only the skills, the keywords that are there. And also there are several platforms that are there, like we have LinkedIn, we have Indeed, Naukri, etc., etc. Try to update your profile on a regular basis, so that the recruiter or the companies or the hospitals, those who are seeking for professional who wants to be a part of this clinical trial world, so that they can recognize or they can find out your profile easily, and you can get selected for the role as well. Okay. So you have to be very much updated with your skills, and whatever they are seeking for it, you need to prepare it accordingly, and then you can just apply for the job. And once you get a call from them, you can prepare for the interview and clear it accordingly. Okay. So yeah, that's it about the skill sets and the important things that you need to remember if you want to be a part of this clinical research world, and you want to grow as a clinical research professional. So that's it from my end. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Ankita ma'am, for such an insightful session. Kindly note, dear attendees, we have shared a link in the chat. So as I told you in the very beginning, you will be getting an ebook link. So we have shared, like soon we will be sharing. So please check your chat, and we have shared a link. So you just have to click on the link, and you just simply have to fill out the form. So you will get an access to a free ebook, which is related to clinical research jobs. The ebook is related to clinical research jobs. And so once you fill out the form, you will receive a free ebook on clinical research jobs directly in your email. And kindly note, the link will be remain active only during the webinar. So now quickly moving over to Q&A segment. So first question I will be taking from Abhinaya. Abhinaya, you have mentioned that you have completed MSc Foods and Nutrition. So you wanted to know that is there any opportunity to become CRA with your qualification? So Rutika ma'am, Dr. Rutika ma'am, would you like to answer this question?
Yeah, I think the associate positions start with purely the life science graduates. So I don't see any hurdle around. One can refer to the beginners positions that are there and get the entry.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Abhinaya, I hope this answers the question. A similar question is from Maitri that I have completed my MSc in microbiology. So is there any chance that I can get into clinical research or being CRA? So I think Ankita ma'am has already covered this part in her session. So Ankita ma'am, would you like to throw some more light on this question? Would you like to take up this question?
Yes, sure, ma'am. So basically, I have also completed my master's in microbiology itself, and I'm working as a clinical research professional. So the answer is yes. You can definitely take up this thing as a career, and you can move forward. That is not an issue that whether you have completed, whether you have done microbiology or not. And if you want to grow more professionally, as I said, this free or paid certificate courses are always an additional advantages, so you can opt for it, and that will be again increasing your chance to be in this world of clinical research. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ankita ma'am. I hope this answers the question, Maitri. I will be taking up this last question, which is from Abhi. Abhi has done MSc in computer science and wanted to know that whether after completing MSc computer science, whether clinical research data management course can be taken or not. Snigdha ma'am, would you like to answer this question?
Yes, sure. After computer science, yes, definitely. I think a lot of med techs and health techs are emerging. You know, a lot of health techs and med techs emerging. A lot of we are going globalization. We are taking a lot of patient data globally, so we have a lot of data. So I think the data management and programmers, SAS, R, Python, these automation roles also in the clinical, a lot of AI ML, uh, the disease based techs are emerging, so they want the platforms to be meant and the automations to be done. So I think it's very good that computer science professionals should definitely think about getting into the med techs and health techs, diagnostics. Yes, so I think with certain kind of the certifications and everything, it would be a bright future. It's emerging a lot.
Okay, thank you so much, Snigdha ma'am. Rutika ma'am, would you like to add something?
No, I think she covered fantastically. I think this is definitely it is a good amalgamation of having a know-how of clinical domain and technical domain of computer science. I think uh, that's really quite emerging. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So, Abhi, I hope this answers your question. I can see a lot of questions in the chat, but dear attendees, I know you have a lot of questions, but due to time constraints, we will not be able to take them right now. So, please feel free to post your questions at cst@biotechnica.org, and we will be happy to answer them there. So, as we come to the close of today's insightful webinar on clinical research, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to all the speakers. A heartfelt thank to all the esteemed speakers, Dr. Rutika Naik ma'am, Ms. Ankita and Ms. Snigdha, for sharing your valuable insights, real world experiences, and practical guidance. Your sessions have played a crucial role in demystifying the fields of clinical research and have provided our attendees with a valuable perspective. Also, I would like to thank all the attendees for your active participation. We hope this webinar has clarified your path and inspired you to take the next step in building a career in clinical research. Remember, with right knowledge, skills, and strategy, a rewarding career in this field is within your reach. So if you would like to stay updated or need guidance on certifications, internships, or career planning, don't hesitate to reach out to us or explore the resources available through Biotechnica. So wishing you all the best in your professional journey. Thank you and take care.